You're listening to XVGM Radio. Welcome to XVGM Radio, where the bits keep coming. I'm Mike.
And I'm Justin.
And this is episode 65, Winter Trax 2, Icelectric Boogaloo.
Nice.
I don't know if we'll actually keep that name. It's very long, but that's the name as it is right now.
I like it, though.
So you may have heard our previous Winter Trax episode where we celebrated the holiday season with winter goodness on the VGM front, video game tunes with, I don't know, a holiday festive kind of vibe to it. You know, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, winter solstice, whatever you celebrate. We of course wish you a happy holiday. And so today we are going to do exactly what we did last year, but on a slightly bigger scale. Justin and I are going to be live opening presents. Right now we are looking at each other, longingly gazing at each other. And yeah, and we are going to be opening some gifts. So I have Justin's gifts and he has mine. So if you are watching this, or if you are watching this on YouTube, cool. If you are listening to this in the normal podcast form, go to youtube.com/dongled or just follow the link down below in the show notes.
Yeah.
There will be a link for the YouTube episode, or rather the YouTube version of this episode. We do that every single episode, but this one's extra special because now we're doing actually video chatting together.
You can see our faces.
Exactly.
And the things that we're doing and the weird crap that's behind us.
Yeah, right. I mean, I've got just like a green, boring wall, and you've got like
craft stuff and
craft stuff. Yeah. Mannequin head.
Kraft macaroni and cheese.
That too. So I'm going to hold off on opening your gift because I want you to open at least the first three. So I got Justin 4 gifts. And this is one gift, right?
So I made a like a Russian nesting doll type thing. It's technically
okay.
2. There should have been 3. So to let everybody at home know, I told you when you picked the stuff up, but there is a 3rd part to this, and unfortunately it got lost during Thanksgiving. So I'm still going to do it, and I'm just going to have to drop it off at your house. But it's not going to be a surprise because I'm going to tell you at the end after you've opened the other stuff what it was going to be, and then you can enjoy it all the more when it shows up.
Sure, that works. Yeah. So regarding opening, you're going to hear a lot of crinkling and a lot of opening. So we apologize in advance for the sound if you are only listening to this on a podcast format, audio only wise. So head over to the YouTube if you really want to see the full effect. And then what'll happen is it'll cut over to the normal episode like we normally do. And you could switch back regularly scheduled program if you don't want to listen on YouTube.
Yep.
So Justin, go ahead, open your gift.
All right.
One of your gifts first.
This one is in green wrapping. There's a very small sticker on this that says "Pay Bill." I just noticed.
Oh my god!
Did you do that on purpose?
No, my daughter put that on it.
Oh, well, tell Rose I said thank you.
Okay, so in my wife's office, she has a bunch of stickers with like little things on it, like pay bill or check calendar or this and that, and she must have grabbed a sticker while I was wrapping it and put it on when I wasn't. That's so funny.
Yeah, it's right on Rudolph's head there. It's that's why I thought you did that. I was like, oh, that's funny.
Yo, that's awesome.
All right, let's open this up.
Opening.
Ooh. It is a mask.
But do you know what it is? It's a COVID-friendly mask.
It is. So it looks like Red 13.
It is. It's
I see it now.
It is a
awesome.
combo. So it is a combo mask, like one of those shirts that have like a reference to one thing, but it's also a reference to a video game. So it is a reference to Lion King. The drawing.
Oh, yeah.
Because I know you like the Lion King game for Genesis or whatever, right?
SNES,
Or
yeah.
SNES, yeah.
I also like Lion King movies. We just watched them the 1 and 2 this past weekend, and I was like, this looks vaguely familiar. And I'm not, aside from I saw the 13. I'm like, I don't know why else this looks familiar, but it's the Lion King.
It's the cave drawing from Lion King, but done with Red 13 from Final Fantasy VII.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you, dude.
No problem.
I actually need masks, so I'm going to get a lot of use out of that.
I know, yeah. And if anybody else is interested in getting that mask, it is at tpublic.com. You could search for it. Just type like Red 13 or Final Fantasy VII mask.
Very cool. All right, so you said I should do the first 3. So the next one is a large red one. Let's open that up. Appears to be a book of some kind. Let's see. Ooh. It is Prima's Wild Arms Unauthorized Game Secrets.
We're going off the rails.
Yes.
Unauthorized.
Holy moly. Oh, that's awesome. This is one of the games that I need to get back to. I think the last time I played it was over a year ago, but I did get a few hours into the game, so that's awesome.
Very cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. And then this one is green as well. No sticker on Rudolph this time. Oh, I just realized, like, it looked like the Rudolph from the claymation, but I didn't see the elf guy when I was looking at the other one. Forget his name. He wants to be a dentist.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Are you talking about the claymation?
Yeah.
Frozen? Oh, okay.
Not not Frozen, but
not Frozen.
the claymation, Christmas thing from the 1970s. That's
right.
It's got that.
I've never seen it, so
really?
That's why I was.
I mean,
I know I'm Jewish, so
right. No, I knew that, but like even Ariel's Jewish too, and she's seen it.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Well, 'cause our friend Ariana loves those movies. Oh, Dragon Crown! Holy crap!
So, I had your wife look to see if you had it. So the thing is, this is a little bit of a selfish gift.
So that I can play with you.
So we could do multiplayer.
Nice.
The cool thing is I have the PS4 version. I could not find the PS4 version in all the stores I looked for. And the one thing I did was I ordered on GameStop super late, and it came, but it didn't have like the manual and everything. So I was like, nah, I got to return it. So I went specifically, I found a PS3 version, That version you can play online cross-play with PS4.
Oh, cool. It's like Helldivers.
Yeah. But the
I'm sure
thing
there's a bunch
is,
of games like that, yeah.
the thing about the multiplayer with this is that you have to go into the you have to unlock the stables if you want to play multiplayer. It takes about 2 hours of solo play to do it.
That's not too bad.
So,
I mean, I did about like 3 hours of solo play on Dragon Quest Heroes 2, and then well, unfortunately we found out that we couldn't play together anyway.
I know. Yeah, that was a bummer. But this one should definitely work. So yeah.
Nice.
Cool.
All right, now you go.
Let me open mine. So mine, I think, will be a little louder.
Yeah.
This is a box within a box, apparently.
Something like that.
Okay.
I mean, technically, I wrapped the gifts. I put the gifts in, I forgot to do something. I put the gifts in the box, and then I wrapped that box.
Okay.
Not quite as many levels as Yzma and Krunk from Emperor's New Groove, but...
Yeah. All right, using my hobby knife to open. All right. Hobby knife fell in my lap. Whoops. Okay. So I see foam.
Yep. So the first thing is that foam has dual purpose. For one, it padded out that box so that nothing in there got broken. For two, that's actually what I bought for sound, like for like sound stuff. So Ed, I was talking to our mutual podcaster Ed the other day about sound dampening things, and he goes, yeah, like if you just get some of that stuff, cut them into squares, you don't need to like line a wall with it. You just need like a couple good squares around, and it'll like that's all he did. And he said it made a lot of difference. So there's four of them in there, and I gotta find the foam safe paint, but I figured we could try to match the paint to the walls. This way it doesn't, or we can match the foam to the walls so it doesn't stand out or look awful.
That's an idea. All right. I feel two things. I'm gonna grab the first. It feels like something.
Good job.
To Mike from Justin, and it's got cat wrapping paper with Santa hats on it. And it is a hat in time. That's funny because I actually added this to my my shopping list. I was gonna get this, or I added to my shopping list for my wife, like for Amazon wish list or whatever. So
go figure.
Very cool. I can cross this one off. Thank you. And let's see. Oh yeah, no, you do yours next.
Oh, do this one? Okay.
Yeah, you do yours next. Right. Yeah, this is your last one.
Ooh. Oh, I should have brought it up. It's another red box. Opening a red box. Opening it up. It is a brown box. Let's see. Ooh.
It's just Scotch tape. You should just be able to pop it open. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't realize it was Scotch tape.
I tried to make it easy for you.
Ooh. Oh. You're a fooler. Oh, nice. GBA Super Dodgeball, like my favoriteest NES game of all time. I've heard good things about the GBA version.
My brother had it back in the day, and I've played it before, and I thought it was really cool, so I ended up grabbing that copy online for you.
Very cool.
And it is complete. It's got the box, the manual, everything.
Oh, snap, it does.
Yeah.
Holy crap. Oh, man, I got to go find my my GBA.
Yes.
It is still kicking around. I think it's actually sitting on top of my NES right now. Very cool. Thank you, dude.
Awesome. No problem. All right. This is my second one, technically.
Yep.
But let's see. All right. It feels like a record. It feels like a record. And it's wrapped in dreidel wrapping paper. Excellent. All right. Let's open this bad boy up. Let's see what goodies. Last time you struck gold.
I did.
Oh,
I was gonna say, I think I struck gold again.
Yeah. You got the thing.
You got the touch.
You got the thing.
You got
Justin.
the power.
I've been wanting this one.
I was gonna say, it's your favorite game of all time.
Super Castlevania 4 on vinyl. I love this soundtrack. It's
a great soundtrack.
It is such an amazing soundtrack, and I'm not crazy about this cover art. I've seen it. I kind of think it's kind of but I love this soundtrack, and it will definitely get played and get good use. I'm curious about what color vinyl you got. Do you happen to know what color it is?
No. I didn't realize there was multiple options.
Oh yeah, there's whenever you buy vinyl these days, especially VGM vinyl, there's always like different colors for the vinyl. So let's see what version you got. The blue version, I think, is the most common, and that's what this is. Yep, that's the blue version. Awesome.
Nice.
That is super cool. Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
And the third part, like I said, wasn't a big part, but it was going to be fun for both of us because I know that you like them. So last year I made you controller chocolates. This year I bought a different set of molds to make like peanut butter cup type thing. So it was going to be, they were going to look like chocolates, and then when you bite into them, it was going to be filled with peanut butter stuff.
Nice. That's awesome.
So you'll still get that eventually.
That sounds delicious. Maybe the cats ate it. Let's hope not.
I hope not, because I mean, one of my cats already had a problem eating something silicone.
Yes. All right. Well, now we switch back to your regularly scheduled program.
Yes.
So that was fun, but now it's time to get back to our episode and our winter tracks. The track that we came in on was Santa Claus no Takarabako, and that came out in 1987 on the Famicom Disk System. The track was Jingle Bells, and it is by an unknown composer, or at least I couldn't find any composer info.
That was a lot of fun. I mean, just kind of thinking back on it was such a good like arrangement of the Jingle Bells song. Everybody out there, I feel like, has probably heard Jingle Bells a million times to death, and like we know the song, but like I don't think I've ever actually heard an 8-bit rendition, or at the very least, if I haven't heard one that's memorable. Like this was really cool. I particularly liked the percussion on it. It was simple, but like it added something to the song that I don't feel is ever there in any other arrangement that I've heard.
Yeah, it definitely sounded like a Famicom Disk System game, though, despite being, 8-bit. It just had a little bit more flair to it. I really enjoyed this version. I actually found out about this from Bedroth, from the Very Good Music VGM podcast, or VGM, Very Good Music podcast. He posted it in our XVGM Discord, where we have like a thing where people just share tracks, and I saw him posted there, and I was like, yo, yoinking this, and I ganked it.
Nice. You stole from our listeners.
Yes, I stole from our listeners. You're welcome. No, thank you very much, Bedrock. So this game is a Famicom Disk System. I believe it's an exclusive. It's developed by a company called Musical Plan Limited, and it was published by Data East in Japan. So it's Japan only, obviously, Famicom Disk System. So there's 2 different modes that you can play for the game. The first is you can create your own Christmas card, and the second is party games. So the party games are bingo, roulette, slot machine, and poker dice.
Okay.
But what you do with the Christmas card is you can basically put together a little Christmas card greeting thing, and then you could save it on the Famicom Disk System, or on the cartridge rather, or the disc. And if you want to pull it up again, you can, kind of like Mario Paint in a way. But you could do like little Christmas cards, like to me or to you from me, Merry Christmas, that sort of thing. I'm looking at some pictures on the strategy wiki for it.
That's pretty cool. I was actually going to make a joke, and I was going to be like, oh, did they have an NES printer or Famicom printer that you could hook up to it at the time? Because like,
no,
how do you
that would
make the? But I forgot the disc. Like the disc system has a disc that you can actually,
right, yeah. But the disc is proprietary hardware for specifically the Famicom Disk System, so you would need like a Famicom Disk System printer, which doesn't exist.
Right. Okay, yeah. For some reason, I thought that it was like a floppy that you could put into like a floppy drive on an old computer and actually pull the data off. So yeah, this is literally just you're making a Christmas card that will never be seen outside of your home unless you bring it to somebody else's house that has a Famicom Disk System.
Pretty much. All right, here's what we got to do, Justin. Next year for this winter giveaway, we both get Famicom Disk Systems. We both get this game, and then I'll make you a greeting card, and you make me a greeting card, and then we'll swap the discs, and that'll be it.
I think we can do that. How much is a Famicom disc system?
A lot. So, yeah, maybe not. I mean, I have a Famicom. I have a Sharp Twin Famicom.
And that has the system fake piece?
But I just need to get the, I need to fix it because the disc system portion isn't working right. So anyways, that's Santa Claus no Takarabako. Again, it's no composer that we know of, so we can move on to my first pick.
Yeah.
Cool. So I picked for you guys to start off our episode after the intro, a game called Popful Mail. This came out on a lot of different systems. The PC-98 in 1992. It also came out on the Sega CD, the PC Engine CD, Super Famicom, and Windows. But we are going to be listening to the PC-88 version, which came out in 1991. This track is called Iceberg Exploring, and it's by Mieko Ishikawa and Atsushi Shirakawa. Welcome back to XVGM Radio's Winter Tracks 2 episode. That was Popful Mail, Magical Fantasy Adventure. It's also got a subtitle there. It came out on the PC-98 in 1992, as well as the Sega CD, the PC Engine CD, Super Famicom, and Windows, but that version was the PC-88 version that came out in 1991. The track was called Iceberg Exploring, and it's by Mieko Ishikawa and Atsushi Shirakawa. What do you think of this one?
This one was really funky. I was digging it. I kind of got lost in it. I forgot to write down anything that came to mind, but the bass groove was really, really neat. It was almost twarpy, but it was enough on the side of not twarpy that I enjoyed it. So I don't know, there was a weird quality to it, but I really liked just what was going on in the bass. I also really liked the melody. There was a lot of twinkling effects. I definitely got the winter theme out of this. Just with a lot of the higher pitched sound effects. But my mind was just mostly focused on the funky bass.
I think that the bass sounded really good here. I'd say the bass and the lead melody were the two reasons why I picked this version over the PC-98 or any of the other versions. And those versions aren't necessarily bad or anything. This is just different. And I felt like this PC-88 version was a lot chunkier. It felt almost as if the bass was being played by an upright bass.
Yeah.
Because it had those really fat, chunky, it's almost as if you could hear somebody playing those really thick strings that upright basses have. So that's one of the main reasons. And then the melody also is really sharp and crisp here, and it gave me vibes of icicles falling. Yeah,
no, I actually totally agree. I think that's what was kind of going on in my mind as I was hearing those. And it just, like I said, I didn't write anything down, so it's hard to remember and turn those things into words, but I completely agree.
Yeah, that part that's it's almost as if a front row of icicles fell and then a back row of icicles fell. It has, because that front melody is very like up front and it's a little bit louder and more intense, and then the other one is more like an echo. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the vibe that I got from it. But just really fun, energetic track, pretty typical of Nihon Falcom. So yeah, Popful Mail is a game that was, I think probably it's more famous for being an expensive Sega CD game than anything, because that's at least here in North America. But it was translated by Working Designs and brought over to North America in 1994. So they added a bunch of cutscenes and everything, but this is a side-scrolling game where you play as a character named Mail. Mail.
Okay.
She is a bounty hunter, and she's going through a forest, and she ends up getting into just, some struggles, some troubles. It's been a really long time since I've played this. I remember I got the game like several years ago, and then I kind of popped it in just to see what it was all about. I got it for like maybe $80 at the time on Sega CD, and then just like I kind of shelved it because I was like, you know what, I'd love to do a review on this or something like that, but like I wanna kind of put it to the side and really spend some time with it. And I haven't gone back. I really need to, but this game is stupid expensive now. It's like a $500-$600 game now.
Wow. Oh,
yeah,
wow.
It's stupid.
You know what's funny? So I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at some of the various cover arts that they have. And you know who Popful? I'm assuming that's Popful. You know who she reminds me of?
The redhead? Yeah. The redheaded elf.
The redheaded? You mean Lena? Oh wait.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
From Slayers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. See, she has elf. I actually didn't notice that that Popful Mail had elf ears, but yeah,
elf ears.
In just the quick looks that I got of her, a lot of the different shots that they have, she looks like Lena from Slayers.
Yeah, totally. It's definitely got that like late 80s, early 90s, like really fun anime charm that Slayers had. So that is perfect. That's spot on. Yeah.
Nice.
So Mieko Ishikawa is probably better known for being a kind of like a figurehead at Falcom as one of the directors currently, but she joined in 1987 and she's been working on games for a long time, starting off with games like Dragon Slayer 4, better known as Legacy of the Wizard here in the US, and continued with some other Xanadu games, Sorcerian, which I think is the 5th game from the Dragon Slayer series, I believe. I could be wrong about that. Then just did a lot of arranged soundtracks as well. Worked on Wonders from Ys and a lot of the other Ys games, and just continued working on mostly soundtracks. They're credited for the recent vinyl release for Ys 1 and Ys 2, just as the composer. So.
Oh, yeah.
And Atsushi Shirakawa started off with Popful Mail in 1992. So most likely the PC 98 version that they're probably credited for, but they may be also credited for the original PC 88 version, because that's the system that came out on first. Later worked on games like Brandish 2, The Planet Buster in 1993, and Brandish 3, Spirit of Balkan in 1994. They continued working with the Brandish series all the way up till the 1998 release Brandish 4, and worked on some of the Legend of Xanadu games and the Xanadu series. Their final game was Zwei, or Zwei? I think Zwei, Zwei, in 2004.
Yeah, that's German for two.
Yes.
Zwei. Yeah, Zwei.
So that's it. So now we can get into your first pick.
Alrighty, so I am going to start out with a very wintry game. This is Ice Age, came out in the Game Boy Advance in 2002. The track is just called Track 6, and this was composed by Manfred Linsner under the Shinen Company. All right, welcome back. That was 2002's Ice Age, which was a Game Boy Advanced game. The track was track 6. It was composed by Manfred Linzner with his Shinen Company.
I thought it was composed by Manfred Linzner's Wacky Circus Brigade.
I mean, it could have been.
I got a circus vibe from this. Did you?
Yeah, no, it definitely had kind of like a march to it. That with like a little bit of polka and what else. I can definitely see this as like a circus-y type theme.
That do 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 do. That's totally circus music.
Yeah, specifically, I feel like almost a winter circus, if that is a thing or makes any sense. I think mostly it's just the quality and the sound of like that marimba or xylophone or whatever it is that's being played. It just, I don't know, it reminds me of like Winter Guard and just the winter stuff.
Totally.
Then there's also, the Ice Age, if you're familiar with the movies and everything else. It takes place during, like, there is no seasonal stuff. It's all just wintry. So there's a lot of snow. Okay.
I have not seen the movie, so I don't know anything about Ice Age.
Seen any of them?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. There's like 5 million.
Yeah, no, I've not seen any of them, so no clue.
Yeah, it was Dennis Leary's breakout role as a saber-toothed. It wasn't his breakout role, and not at all. But I enjoyed the first movie when it came out. The second one, I don't even remember which ones I've seen. I want to say I've seen the first 4, but I mean, as with many sequels, as it goes on, it just kind of loses the fun of what I enjoyed out of the original. But yeah, I mean, Dennis Leary, John Leguizamo. I forget the cast. It doesn't matter. They don't have voices in this game. What?
John Lithgow?
No, it might actually be John Leguizamo. He does
You might actually be John Leguizamo.
Nice.
That'd be kind of cool. Hosting the show with John Leguizamo.
He's a cool guy. I like him. I mean, he's Luigi Mario.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's the clown from Spawn and Luigi.
That's right. I forgot about he was the clown from Spawn.
Yeah. Don't you ever forget that he was the clown from Spawn.
Well, I won't anymore. So the track itself, I think we've talked a bit or enough about it. I enjoyed the sound of it, and I like sort of the connection that I have to the Ice Age movies through it. I mean, it kind of sounds like something you might hear playing in the background while like Sid the Sloth is being stupid. Who knows? But
is that a recurring theme?
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, so the main characters in both the game and the movies, there's Manny. There's Manny, who's a woolly mammoth, who's played by Ray Romano. There's Diego, who's not a saber-tooth tiger, he's a Smilodon. Very similar. Played by Dennis Leary. Sid, who is a Megalonyx, basically a prehistoric sloth.
Turtlesaurus?
Yeah. He is played by John Leguizamo. Then there's a prehistoric Turtlesaurus, like a prehistoric squirrel type thing called Scrat, who's apparently voiced by Chris Wedge, but there's no it doesn't talk like everybody else. Like, it just makes squirrel noises. He's like the goofy character throughout the films. Like, his bit is he's always trying to save or store an acorn, and he is always thwarted. He never gets his acorn, and
so he never gets that nut.
He never gets that nut.
No. That's a shame.
That is an accurate way to describe
everybody should get that nut. Everybody should be able to get a nut. Dat nut. Okay, then.
But as far as the game itself goes, it is a relatively basic platformer. There's not a whole lot of information I can find in this game. It's actually, I couldn't even find it on Moby Games. The closest I could find was like a 2002 Ice Age game that I think was a port to like an old system. Like, it was, it might have been like a Jaguar, or I don't even remember. I just know that I
found the same thing.
Yeah, I struggled to find anything about this. But the game allows you to play as either Sid or Manny. There's 10 levels, and the goal of each level is to collect as many nuts as possible, and then make it to the end safely.
Whoa. So they get the nuts?
Oh, of course they
get the nut, but he doesn't?
Watch it.
That's rough, man.
It is.
That's rough. Okay, then.
Boy. Well, I mean, I'm sure they're going to make another movie. We'll find out.
Hopefully he gets that nut.
Yes. So, this guy, this Manfred Linzner guy, as I said, didn't find it originally on Moby Games, but Moby Games does have a great resume for him. Started out doing music on Imperium Romanum in 1996. Not even sure what that is. That looks to be a DOS game. Something about Rome. So either way, so we started out there, went on to do Rise of the Rabbits in 1997 and the sequel, Rise of the Rabbits 2 in 1998. Jumping forward just a bit, he did music and sound effects.
That's Rise of the Rabbits, not Rise of the Rabbids.
Correct.
That's an Ubisoft game.
Yes,
right?
the Rabbids did not exist in the 90s. They were a Rayman creation of the mid 2000s. Yeah,
mid to late 2000s. Yeah. Okay.
But keeping with our theme, though, he did music on Polaris Snowcross in 2000. And I think that's about all I'm going to find in our theme. So we'll say music and sound effects on Eminem's Blast in 2001. I'm purposely skipping over all of the cool games that he did, like Spider-Man, Mysterio's Menace, Spider-Man 2, The Sinister Six, Jackie Chan Adventures. So many good games. His most recent entry is The Tourist. In 2019, he did additional music and sound effects.
Yeah, we actually talked about him quite a bit on the Crash Bandicoot episode about 2 episodes or 3 episodes ago.
Yes, we did.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. So what do you got?
So I've got for you a game that I have not played, but I am a big fan of the franchise. This is from Rise of the Tomb Raider. It came out on the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4. And this name of this track is Blood in the Snow. And it's by Bobby Tahuri. Hey, welcome back. That was Tomb Raider, or rather Rise of the Tomb Raider, which is the sequel to the Tomb Raider reboot, which came out in 2014. This sequel came out on the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 in 2015, and the name of the track is Blood in the Snow, and it's by Bobby Tahuri. It's a really energetic and exciting track. For this time around. I don't know. What do you think about it?
Yeah, it was very bombastic. So I definitely get Tomb Raider out of this. I haven't played the Tomb Raider series in a long time, but I will say we've listened to a lot of like bombastic and orchestral stuff. But like when I listen to this, maybe I'm influenced because I already know it's from a Tomb Raider game. But like I just get the feel of what I remember from Tomb Raider. So I don't know if I quite got the holiday or rather the wintry stuff, but I'm guessing that that's more in name than anything else, unless there's something that I didn't pick up on.
Well, the majority, if not all of the game takes place in the mountains. The Siberian tundra. So you're searching for the lost city. I think it's called Kitezh. It's Kitezh. You're trying to find some evidence of a soul that is immortal. That's got it's being like I guess fused or is injected with this relic called the Divine Source. Laura is on this expedition with her crew, and the only two people that there's like a craziness that takes place where it's only Laura and her companion Jonah. So Jonah's basically with her for a good chunk of the game, and then eventually Jonah goes his separate way, or they get separated, and then it's just you're playing as Lara Croft. So these reboot games are pretty cool. I enjoyed the first one, like I'd say 90% of the time, but I had 2 complaints about it, which kind of carried over to these sequels. And I understand that this is a prequel in the sense that it's you're not playing as the old Lara Croft. You're playing as like this rebooted, more vulnerable version of her. She's not like, she's tough in the sense that she really gets beat up in these games, like pretty bad. And so you kind of wonder when you see all the stuff that she does, like a lot of the stuff she's doing is really still pretty superhero-ish or superheroine-ish, but you don't have the smart aleck Lara who's confident, and you get instead this character who's very much coming into being who she is. So I haven't played the third one, but this one, there's a lot of cool throwback stuff that they add in for the PS4 version, where you could play as like the old school reskinned like PS1 era Lara,
like the sharp edges polygonal Lara.
Like it looks like you're playing like everybody else is all like super new, and then you're just playing as this like redone, reskinned like polygon version. It's super cool.
That's awesome. They did something like that with one of the skins in the new Crash game too, actually.
Yep.
And I when I unlocked that, it was a lot of fun to just play as this like pointy guy.
Yeah. They did the same thing with, I think, one of the Metal Gear games, like Metal Gear Solid 5 or something like that. They made like Snake look like he was from Metal Gear Solid. So
yeah, nice.
Yeah, it's a cool throwback. It's also just kind of fun to look at and kind of make you go, I remember when graphics looked like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, but I really love this track. It was very bombastic, like you said, but when I hear orchestral music, a lot of the times I'm looking for the melody, and I'm also looking for, like, my ears perk up, and I almost try to mentally change the track in my head to be something that I'm more a fan of. And that's not to say that I don't like orchestral music, but it's more to say that, if I could hear a bombastic track like this, in my head, it sounds very heavy metal. Like, I can picture, like, some guitars in the background, like, dun, 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 kind of going along with that. So that's what I heard.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
Yeah. This whole thing takes place in the Siberian tundra. So you are, I wanted to pick tracks that were not necessarily like the, winter holiday vibe, but also maybe something a little different that still invoked the, winter time.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, this one was definitely. I've probably in looking through what we have coming up. I feel like this is probably the most intense song, or the most intense track on today's playlist. But it was really cool. I kind of enjoyed that for a change of pace. Like most of the holiday or wintry type stuff, you're not really getting intense. You're getting like light and like crystally and twinkly and stuff like that.
Yeah, I wanted to try something a little different.
Yeah.
Bobby Tahuri started work on Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen in 2009, where he's credited for additional orchestral score, and then continued it with Transformers: Dark of the Moon. So basically working on these really big budget AAA games. After that, he worked on Medal of Honor Warfighter in 2012, and then Transformers: Rise of the Darkspark in 2014. He is the composer on the newest Marvel Avengers game, which came out this year in 2020.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, sounds like there's a lot of like licensed properties in there. The Transformers movies, the Avengers, and stuff like that. That's cool.
Absolutely. Well, it looks like we are getting a call on our caller request hotline, so may as well pick up and see who it is. We got Janine in the studio, our producer, who is also a Metroid, and she looks very snug in her Christmas sweater and rocking her hot chocolate. I hope that's hot chocolate in there, Janine. Go ahead and forward that call over to us.
XVGM Radio, who is this and what can we do for you?
Hi. Hello. My name is Shinji Ikari, and I'd like to request a song.
Sure thing. Shinji, what can we play for you?
Spit it out.
Hey, no need to be rude.
No. You don't understand. We're going to be here all day.
What was that?
Just get in the robot, Shinji.
I have to go.
Okay. Well, hey, that's what happens when you leave a potato in the microwave, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my God. Well, so I think I can pull something out for Shinji here. Hopefully he can listen while he's doing whatever he does in that Ava unit. This is going to be from Neon Genesis Evangelion, came out in the N64 in 1999. The track is called A Crystalline Night Sky, and it was composed by Jun Inoki. All right, that was A Crystalline Night Sky from 1999's Neon Genesis Evangelion that came out on the N64, and that was composed by Jun Inoki.
Indeed. That was definitely more in line with the winter vibe, for sure.
Yeah, this one's kind of winter creepy. I mean, it's very, very minimal, so there's not a whole lot to really dig into here. But I mean, for those who are familiar with the anime, I think this is actually an arrangement of one of the background tracks from the anime. A lot of the stuff on this soundtrack is actually exactly that. It's N64 arrangements of things that you hear in the anime. I was actually holding on to this one for a bit, but a track was requested from an Evangelion character, so this one, like you said, I felt like it fit the theme or the mood of winter. Like, you get the kind of like twinkly piano notes, and it just kind of sits up there, and you get some other stuff that's below it, but there's not a whole lot there. It feels kind of empty. It kind of gives me the feeling of like almost Jack from The Shining at the end, where he's frozen in the maze. I got a similar kind of vibe there.
I could see that, definitely. It was definitely creepy, wintry, but I guess that makes it weepy.
Weepy or crintery?
Crintery. Let's go with crintery.
Yeah.
That just sounds dirty. That does not. I don't know how I feel about that.
Crintery. I don't know. But yeah, if you haven't seen Evangelion, I recommend it to most people who are interested in like watching old anime or getting into like some of the classics. Evangelion is a staple, but to me anyway, it is a staple of anime. It is very strange. The ending gets very, very weird between the anime ending versus the movie ending, and then there's the newer movies that came out in like the late 2000s, the early 2010s. Where there's supposed to be 4, we got 3. We're still waiting on that 4th one. It'll happen someday, maybe eventually.
Possibly.
But yeah, it's sort of a mech anime. It's a lot of things. Like, it's an existential anime. It's a mecha anime. It's a fighting anime. It's like a slice of life at times.
Would you say it's an anime?
I don't know. Maybe.
It's the thing that has always kind of turned me off from seeing it is the mech part. I'm not a big fan of most mech anime. I think
really,
I got a vibe. And it's a dumb vibe. It's like a high school, like, oh, I don't want to check that out. Like,
oh yeah, yeah.
I don't know. That looks dumb. Like, so it's definitely coming from an ignorant point of view. So it's definitely one of those series that I'm like, yeah, I really need to check this out. I remember having conversations about it in college, and people being like, you need to see this. It's amazing. It's so existential.
Yeah.
I was always kind of like, yo, I just want to see a dude hit some stuff. Like,
I mean, dudes hit stuff in this. It definitely is more about the characters. Like the mecha are a big part of it. Like almost every episode has, I mean, it's a mecha anime, so they have to use the mechas in every episode. But it's not really so much about those things. It does, like there are pieces, like major pieces of the story that are about them and that involve them, because there's a whole big thing about them. But in reality, like the focus is about Shinji Ikari and his relationships with his father Gendo, his I don't want to say partner because they're not really partners, but like one of the other mech pilots is named Rei Ayanami. Another one is named Asuka Langley Soryu, and they are just like they all each have very, very different personalities. And like Shinji is very, very meek and kind of is the type of person who's just like I'll do whatever needs to be done to just like make it go away. But he has a lot of internal conflict, and it's just really interesting to see how it unfolds.
The gameplay from what I'm reading is it's a fighting game. On this.
Yes.
This is the N64 import. It's import only, and
only came out in Japan.
And I guess you're fighting between the Evas and the Angels.
Yep. Yeah. So the Eva units are the mecha that Shinji and the people who work at Nerve use, and the Angels are the enemies. They're like these weird. Without giving too much away, they're like these weird monster creations that constantly threaten life on the planet Earth.
Gotcha.
There was like an incident that happens, I think in 2015 called Second Impact. There's something that happens in Antarctica, and after that event, these things just start coming to Earth and just wreaking havoc. They all have different weird abilities, and like the main sort of ability that's talked about a lot in the show is called the AT field, which stands for absolute terror. And I assume in this game that's like you're blocking, because that's what it is. It's basically like a force field, and the Angels can create them, and humans can't really do anything about it. So the Eva units are able to like break through these force fields so that they can actually fight and attack the Angels. But yeah, no, it's 3D, 2.5D weird like fighting game that looks really neat. I was a big fan of the Evangelion series and the movies, and I'm kind of sad that this never came out here. I didn't own an N64, but I had enough friends that had one that if it had come out here, one of them probably would have gotten it, or I would have gotten it and just been like, yo, can I come over and play this game on your console?
This was one of those games that was on the imports list that you would see in the back of like EGM or like Game Fan, where they were like, oh, you gotta, import these games or whatever. And there were always like maybe 2 or 3 N64 games on there. And this was definitely one of them. I think the other one was maybe Sin and Punishment, but this was definitely on there like all the time.
Yeah. This composer, Jun Inoki, started out doing music on Ranma 1/2, Chonai Gekito Hen in 1992. So another anime-based game, and then has done a lot. Arai Guma Rascal in 1994, Rockin' Riders in 1999, UFC Throwdown in 2002, and their most recent audio credit is Coliseum Road to Freedom in 2005. Their credit is sound engineering on that. So they have not done anything, or at least anything audio related, that has shown up on Moby Games. They did production management on Half Minute Hero, The Second Coming in 2014, so they are still around.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. So I have coming up for you a game called Ease 2 Special Edition, or Special. Came out on the MS-DOS in 1994. So this is a very specific port. The track that we're going to hear is Walkways in the Snow. And now it has tons of arrangers, which we're not going to delve into. Dong Il Kwak, Gu Hee Kwon, In Ho Hao, Ki Sung Park, Myung Jin An, Seong Kim, and Seo Ho Sun. I apologize if I completely butchered those names. I'm a little bit better with Japanese than Chinese, or I think
Korean.
That's
Korean.
either Korean or Chinese. I can't remember. But Mieko Ishikawa, Yuzo Koshiro, and Hideo Nagata are the original composers. Hey, you're back. That was Ease 2 Special, which came out on the MS-DOS in 1994. And this track was called Walkways in the Snow by Dong-il Kwak, Gu Hee-kwang, In Ho-heo, Ki-sung Park, Myung Jin-an, Seong Kim, and Seo Ho-sun, who are the arrangers. And that's all I'm going to go into as far as their names. We don't have any credits for them. There you go. But Mieko Ishikawa, Yuzo Koshiro, and Hideo Nagata were the original posers on that one. So what are your thoughts on this track?
I really enjoyed this one. The name Walkways in the Snow, I feel, was extremely appropriate. Like, this felt like I was 7 or 8 years old after a blizzard, and when the skies are clear and walking outside and just being like, wow, there's so much snow.
Yeah.
And just playing in the snow.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Dead on nailed it. It's definitely one of those blue skies, the snow has already fallen and now you get to enjoy the snow. Or if you're an adult, you get to shovel the snow.
Or if you're a smart adult, you get to snowblow the snow.
Yes, there you go. There you go. So this is a really weird version of Ease 2. So Ease 2 Special came out only on MS-DOS, and it started development in 1992, and it was all done by Korean programmers, so not Chinese, just to instantly clarify. The company was called Mantra. They were not a very large company, but they, I guess, planned on doing full voiceover for the game, but I guess
for
budgetary reasons, that was canned. So, yeah. They basically wanted to take the story from the anime Ys Castle in the Heavens. So that's why this one is apparently very different from the original, at least story-wise. And gameplay-wise, it also is different. It's similar to Ys 5 in the sense that you could pull out your sword, but very similar to the original Ys games, you run into characters and that's how you attack.
Oh, okay.
So it's not a perfect port. There's a lot of problems with it. It does crash quite a bit from what I understand. There were some patches that were released to try to fix that, but unfortunately those created more bugs.
Oh gosh.
So
yeah. That's unfortunate. But
so Mantra basically was a company that worked on localizing Japanese games in Korea, and most of their games were very Japanese. Stuff like Princess Maker, Brandish, Legend of Heroes. All the games that Falcom was working on back in the day.
That's really cool. Yeah, I mean, this sounds like it's really I enjoy the sound of the track. I thought the sound font was really cool. I'm curious. So it sounds like it's different than all the other ones. So does that mean that the tracks in here? Well, no. So the tracks are arranged. So the soundtracks are the same. They're just arranged differently and on different sound equipment, right? So they're
right.
You could find Walkways in the Snow on other versions of these too.
I believe so. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't personally recall hearing it on Ys 2, but I also spent more time with Ys 1 and Ys 3 than Ys 2.
Gotcha.
So yeah. So I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that from what I have read about the game, the soundtrack stayed the same.
That's cool.
Yeah. Mieko Ishikawa and Yuzo Koshiro we already talked about. Well, Yuzo Koshiro we talked about tons. Streets of Rage, Revenge of Shinobi, just tons of amazing stuff. The Wangan Midnight Games.
Yes.
Wangan?
Yeah, Wangan Land?
Wangan? No.
That's Wangan Land.
We totally had this discussion before.
I know.
So we'll talk about Hideo Nagata, who's also credited for this one. They started off with Space Harrier in 1987 and then started working on Ys 2, Ancient Ys Vanished, the Final Chapter. And that was the original Ys game, or rather the Ys sequel that came out. Followed it up later on with games like Bosconian in 1988, Lemmings in 1991, most likely a port to a system like maybe the PC-98 or Sharp X68000, that type of stuff. Then continued with games like Flashback, The Quest for Identity. They did the FM Towns version music. So they primarily continued working with those Japanese computer systems and Japanese games.
Nice.
But they did jump over to do some stuff like Fighter's Destiny 1 and Fighter's Destiny 2 in 1998 and 1999, respectively. So that is it for them.
Cool. All right. Well, then let's move into my next pick here. This is Wonder Boy 3 Monster Lair. This came out in the arcade in 1988, on the TurboGrafx CD in 1989, and on the Genesis in 1990. This is the Genesis version that we're going to hear. The track is The Ice World, and the original composition was by Shinichi Sakamoto. I'm not sure if he also technically did the Genesis or if there was an arranger, but I couldn't find credits for the Genesis version.
You're listening to XVGM Radio.
Welcome back from that, XVGM listeners. That was Wonder Boy 3 Monster Lair. Came out in the arcade, on the TurboGrafx CD, and on the Genesis in 1988, 89, and 90, respectively. The track was The Ice World, and the original composer was Shinichi Sakamoto. And
woof.
Mike, yeah, you look like you were having a rough time there. Was the Genesis music not all that you'd hoped it would be?
Oh my goodness, those lead synths towards the loop, like right before the loop. Oh man, those are ear splitting.
Yeah, they're a bit grating.
Oh, and like the drums are okay, but a little too quiet. Man, just those two lead synths going back and forth, it was like getting stabbed in the ear. It was rough.
Yeah, no, that's kind of fair. I think most of our listeners will be surprised to hear me say, like, I picked this one because I actually enjoyed it on a few levels.
It was very twarpy.
I mean, I don't know. Overall, I didn't think it was the worst thing I ever heard come out of a Genesis. So, I mean, that's not glowing praise by any means, but overall, so a couple of things, like
Mad hate.
I really liked so like you said, the drums were really quiet. I don't know if that's just because of the way that it was playing over our call or if it's really that way, but I didn't have any problems hearing the drums. But yeah, the drums had some stereo stuff that going on some of the drum rolls, which I really thought were cool. And the synths, at times they are kind of grating, but at times I thought that they were appropriately, so they weren't twinkly by any means, but I did get kind of a wintry or icy feel out of this, and I think that's mostly just because of the lead synths stay in those really high notes for the entire song. So
that's surprising because I gotta say I did not get any winter vibes from this track. Like, this was like your Rise of the Tomb Raider track.
Fair enough.
Whereas, like, I was just listening and I was like, oh, okay, so he picked this because it's called Ice World, so I'm assuming it's like an ice level that this part of the game takes place in.
Yes.
Interesting, the differences that we hear. We want to hear what you guys heard, though, in this track, because clearly our opinions are different. We don't really disagree that often, but it's always fun to disagree. That's the point.
Yeah.
You're being, fun, having fun with it, and you're being respectful. That's the big important thing. So I'm more curious to hear what our listeners think of this track.
That's fair. I have a feeling many of them will probably agree with you and be like, man, Justin, if you were going to pick a good Genesis track, why did you go with this? Because it wasn't good at all. But, we'll see what people have to say.
It's weird, though, about like this being a Genesis track, because this sounds more like the developer Toe Plan.
Oh, yeah. I can see that. Yep.
They have a lot of tracks with really harsh, grindy synths and lead lines, and I kind of got the vibe that this is secretly a Toe Plan track, but
Yeah, no, I don't think Toe Plan had a hand in this in any way.
No.
I mean, it was published in North America and Japan by Hudson Soft. It was developed by Westone Bit Entertainment, so I don't know anything about that. But, I mean, the game obviously is the third in the Wonder Boy series. So if folks are familiar with Wonder Boy, then you know that it is a scrolling shooting platforming. Taking a look at the gameplay, there are both platforming and like arcade shooter type concepts that are in here. So like you jump around, you shoot projectiles from a sword, you at some point ride a flying dragon, confront large bosses, so you have a life bar. It looks very, very simple, although what I'm looking at is the screenshots on the Mega Drive, the Genesis, so I think it was probably a bit more, I don't know about complicated, but the arcade versions are always, especially in this era, the superior version. So it likely has, better sound, better graphics, and everything else. But it doesn't look too bad on the Genesis. It just looks relatively simplistic.
This game was remade into a game called Wonder Boy 3: The Dragon's Trap.
Yes.
Which was released on the Master System in '89 and the Game Gear in '92. So I guess Hudson Soft worked quite a bit with Sega on this franchise, as well as West One company. So not much to say about the composer, aside from the fact that, we know that Shinichi Sakamoto worked on the arcade version, but I don't know who arranged this, but it was most likely somebody from either Sega or Hudson Soft.
Yeah, very, very likely. I highly doubt Shinichi Sakamoto did the Genesis version of this.
Yeah, but if you know, let us know, and we will correct in a future episode.
Absolutely. So Shinichi, as we said, did the arcade version of the music and started out doing composition in Valtryk in 1986, and then went on to do pretty much the music for all of the Wonder Boy games. The Wonder Boy and Monsterland in 87, Monster Lair in 88, Wonder Boy and Monsterland in 91, Wonder Boy 3, The Dragon's Trap. Then in 2017, as you mentioned, Wonder Boy, The Dragon's Trap, Monster Boy, and The Cursed Kingdom. That's what we were talking about earlier. Yeah, that came out in 2018. They are credited as the Monster World series composer.
Right. Yeah.
So they're still kicking around.
Yeah, and in this game you can play as a guy or a girl.
Yes. Oh, yeah. There's the Leo is the green-haired boy's name, and then there's a pink-haired girl named Princess Per April.
Okay. So let's move into a game which is much more adult. This is Saints Row 4. This came out in the Xbox 360 and the Xbox One, the PS3 and the PS4, the PC, the Switch, all in different years, 2013, 2016, and 2020. This track is Christmas Dubstep Gun, also known as Christmas Time, and it's by Malcolm Kirby Jr.
Hey there, cowpokes. Pillage B. Arthur here, and I know what you're thinking. Pillage B. Arthur? That sounds like a pirate's name. Well, let me ask you then, are you ready for some of the hottest deals on the best weapons and ammo that money can buy? Come on down to Friendly Fire, where we're running a special Black Friday offer all month long. Get yourself a modified Beretta, perfect for making sure the bad guys stay out of trouble. Only $995. Want to show the world how much you love America? Get on down here and grab the America gun and send your enemies the stars and stripes they deserve, all for just $4,800. The dubstep gun might be your best option if you love your music, and why wouldn't you? Blast your foes away with a fat bass drops and booming high tempo melodies for just $6,994.95. Then again, you can always just beat the snot out of them buggers with the dill... Oh, what's that? I can't say that on the radio? Pleasure McBat Stick it is, then. Get your wiggly pigglies on this bat that can be for bedroom entertainment too, on sale for $125.99. Yes, sir, Friendly Fire is where you want to be for all the savings. Head on down to most Steelport street corners and bring lots of cash too, because this pirate don't want no plunderers. Sale ends December 25th.
Thanks for joining us back on our Winter Trax 2 Icelectric Boogaloo episode. That was Saints Row 4, which came out on the Xbox 360 and Xbox One, the PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, PC, Switch, all in the years 2013, 2016, and 2020. This track was from the Christmas Dubstep Gun, also known as Christmas Time, and it's by Malcolm Kirby Jr.
Oh, man. This was sick. So I like how it starts out with this kind of like jazzy, swingy beat with a really simple melody going on. And then just as I'm getting used to it, it pulls the rug out from under me and drops. I don't know if I'd call it dropping the beat, but like it dubs real hard out of nowhere.
Yeah. It's good stuff. I mean, it definitely gives that winter vibe with the beginning. And then when it comes into that dubstep beat, I like that it continues the winter vibe. It doesn't just go straight up into a dubstep thing. It still has that wintry feel to it.
Oh yeah, like it's like they're playing the original for you, and then saying this is what it's based off of, and then they just throw you into the dubstep, and you can still hear all of the elements. Really, like the swing is still there, the melody is still there, and yeah, like you said, the holiday winter feel is still there, and that's awesome. I mean, I'm a big fan of dubstep just to begin with, so it's like almost anything dubstep you can play is going to be a hit in my book.
No, I wanted to try something different for the sound on the music because, a lot of stuff we're picking, some of it's, very Christmassy, very wintry, but you can't dance to it. And, this definitely you could dance to. So that's why I picked it.
Fair enough.
So Saints Row 4, I am a huge fan of the Saints Row series, specifically 3 and 4. I talked about it quite a bit on the Mike's Picks episode back in 27, I think? 26?
I think so. I think you played a dubstep track then, too.
I might have. I mean, a lot of the music in this game is dubstep-y, so. But it also has a ton of licensed music, but obviously we're not playing that. But there are some really good licensed music of all different genres, so a lot of comedy-type stuff. I mean, the games are freaking hilarious. They're so funny. Really well-rounded characters and well-written characters, hilarious script. Basically, the game is you are the president of the United States of America, and you get taken out by this alien race who is basically the guy in charge is an alien named Zinyak. So I'm not going to spoil the end of the game because I'm going to shift discussion because this is actually the DLC content. They added an episode called Saints Row 4, How the Saints Save Christmas.
Nice.
This, I think, was actually supposed to be in the third game, but they shifted development over to the fourth game and basically added it in as DLC. So the Saints are preparing for Christmas, except for your main character, your hero that you're playing as, a guy or a girl or whatever. And so he's just kind of fed up with dealing with Christmas, and everyone else is like, come on, get in the Christmas spirit. And then one of the female leads in the game, Shondi, it's a future self of Shondi, teleports into your ship because you're basically you were initially put in a simulation, kind of like the Matrix.
Yeah.
And you end up breaking free, but most of the game is spent in the simulation when you're trying to basically destroy the simulation from the inside out.
Yeah, so, I mean, that explains all the crazy things that you can do and crazy things that happen in the game.
Right.
So
all the superpowers. If you've played games like Infamous, it's very similar to stuff like that. You get all these crazy superpowers. So Shondi comes back and tells you that Santa Claus is trapped in the simulation. And nice. There's an evil version of Zinyak calling himself Santa Claus, like CLAWZ.
Yeah.
And he is trying to destroy Christmas. So now your main character, who is not a big fan of Christmas, has to try to save Christmas for your friends.
That's funny.
And that is it. So it is super goofy, super fun, and well worth playing. If you liked Saints Row 4, I highly, highly recommend all the DLC. If you get the Xbox One or PS4 versions, or I think the Switch version too, all the DLC is included.
Oh, nice.
And there's a ton of stuff. Well, anyways, one of the guns is a dubstep gun where basically you fire it at enemies and it plays dubstep music or heavy metal or classical. There's a lot of different songs that you can get for the dubstep gun. And one of the ones that you get is in this DLC pack, which is the Christmas theme. And
very cool. Yeah. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah. No, it's super fun. I wish more people still liked Well, I think the Saints Row fan base is still pretty big, but this is probably honestly in my top 5 favorite games of the past 10 years. Yeah, I like it that much. So it's just super fun. it's one of those games where you can just kick back and play, and I've played through it multiple times. So
yeah, I was going to say, you played it on the original when it first came out, and then you bought it again on the newer, like on the PS4, I think. Or
I bought it like 4 times.
I was going to say, you bought it multiple times.
I had it on the 360, and then I got it on the PS4, and I played through it again on the PS4. Actually, I played through it twice on the PS4 and twice on the 360. I don't know if I made it through the second time on the PS4, but then I ended up selling my copy because I got an Xbox One. And to me, the franchise, it felt more like in line with Xbox than it did with Sony to me. So, and I was also trying to save some hard drive space on my PS4, so I ended up getting the Xbox One version. So,
Gotcha. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Very cool game. I think anybody who likes sandbox games, who wants something a little goofy, very goofy, will enjoy it.
Nice.
Yeah. Malcolm Kirby Jr., we talked about before, primarily works with the developer of Saints Row, which is, well, the publisher is Deep Silver. The developer is Volition. So he, I think, is a in-house composer because he did Saints Row the Third, Saints Row 4, Saints Row Gat Out of Hell, which is one of the major expansions for Saints Row 4, and Lawbreakers in 2017, and Agents of Mayhem, where he did a song called I Am the World. And that is it.
I think that brings us into my next pick here. This is, I think, a little bit more classic considering the theme and the music. This is going to be from the first Super Mario Galaxy, which came out on the Wii in 2007. This is Ice Mountain by Mahito Yokota and Koji Kondo. Hey there, welcome back. That was Super Mario Galaxy. The track was Ice Mountain from the Wii 2007 release. That was composed by Mahito Yokota and Koji Kondo.
Indeedly do.
Well said. So I like this one similarly to some of the other ones that we've played. Like, this one is, again, very minimalistic, and I think they play with the music and the sounds pretty masterfully. I mean, this is Koji Kondo. There's not really a lot that you're ever going to hear by him and go, wow, that sucked.
Yeah.
In fact, I don't think there's anything you're going to play by him and do that. But like, I heard this one and it just spoke winter to me. Like the kind of stings that they have there, the way that they echo or the way that they resonate, and like that like whistle in the background, it just gave me a lot of like chill feelings. How about you?
I thought initially, well, I remembered this track because I remember playing the game, but that part where it kind of opens with this do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do, and that has the danger of getting very repetitive very quickly, but they do a really good job of layering it as the track goes on and adding and stacking more onto just this bass line, like almost like a heartbeat in a way, like like a pulse. And so that really brings out the track more, in my opinion, than anything, is the fact that they keep adding and stacking more onto this main melody.
Yeah,
So,
no, that's a really good point.
I mean, this is a great game. It's one of my favorite Marios, truth be told. This one and the second one's pretty good too, but I haven't spent that as much time with it as this one. This one I beat.
I remember when it came out, I think my friend Nick got it. I'm trying to remember where I was in 2007. Either way, it was at that post-college point in my life where I was living in apartment houses with a bunch of friends. And so somebody had it and it looked really cool, but I don't know. I have the same problem with, I think, pretty much all of the real 3D Mario games is like when I play a Mario game, I want to play like a 2D or maybe the 2.5D, like a side scroller, scrolling platformer. And like the original Mario 64 was cool, but I mean, I think I've talked about this a million times in the show. I just couldn't get into it. Like, long story short, it felt repetitive to me and I couldn't really get into it. And this, I feel like they did take a leap forward. I mean, between the other games that they had that came out and then Galaxy, like there was a lot of going back to the other levels and redoing them in certain ways, but it looked, for one, it looked beautiful, and for two, the actual like level design and like what you were doing were really cool. I just don't know why I couldn't really get into it. I actually watched the Game Grumps play through the second one, and that was really cool too. Like, it was a lot of fun. I think I watched the first half of their playthrough of the first game, and it was fun. We fell off watching YouTube for a few years, and then we came back recently and watched the second one. And the second one looks really cool, and I think Aaron kind of captured part of like how I felt about them. Yeah, like they're really neat, but he has a problem with them. Like, he enjoys the game, but he just finds them very forgettable. Like, after a few weeks of like finishing it and someone's like, oh, hey, like, what'd you think about this game? He can't really, like, he has nothing to say about it because it's just not memorable to him. And I think that's part of the issue for me. Like, I don't dislike the game in the way that I like got sick of Super Mario 64, but I played it, I enjoyed it, and as he said, like, I couldn't tell you anything about it without, you know, the obvious, like, you know, you're Mario, you jump on Goombas,
Sure.
you're fighting stars. Like, I know you're trying to find Peach, I believe, in the first one. Princess Rosalina is helping you fly throughout the galaxy to hunt her down. I think it's very similar in the second one. I don't remember who gets captured, but yeah, it looks really cool.
Probably Peach.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the game is great. It's a lot of fun, and I have a lot of good memories playing Mario Galaxy. I picked it up when it came out, and I think that was back then. That was when I was still really gung-ho about Mario games. And I would say probably after Galaxy, I kind of just got, I don't know, I think I may have picked up one or two more. I picked up Galaxy 2, and I picked up the new Super Mario Brothers Wii U, and also the one prior, New Super Mario Brothers Wii. Got New Super Mario Brothers 2 on DS. Like, that was right around the time when I was like, all right, we get it. Like, there's a new Mario game coming out. Like, it started to get stale to me right around that time, because they weren't doing enough differently with the series, which is ironic because my favorite Mario is Super Mario World. So, and like, when you're talking about looking at a Mario game and be like, I couldn't tell you anything about it, like, Mario Galaxy is probably the one that I couldn't tell you specific levels that I remember, but I remember the mechanics and I remember the experience in the sense that I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So I think that's the thing that I take away most from Galaxy, other than the intro cutscene, which I've watched, you know, a couple times. I couldn't tell you anything about like specific levels, but like, that's kind of how the Mario series has been to me since Mario World. Like, Mario World was like the top notch.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I don't feel like it's very easy for Nintendo to really top Super Mario World because, I mean, for those of us who, you know, grew up with it, or like, you know, it came out when we were children, like, it was mind blowing. Like, it was awesome just all around. And like, they've done a lot of really cool things, but I agree. Like, so I was saying, like, I like a lot of the side-scrolling ones. So, like, the new Super Mario Brothers on the Wii, on the Wii U, on the DS, I think I bought each iteration that actually came out, and I enjoyed all of them. But going back to that other point, same thing. Like, I couldn't tell you anything about them. Like, I know there's like a cloud world in most of them. I think I remember the one for the DS the best, just because, like, I remember when it came out and I was like, this looks interesting. I'll get it and I'll see how it is. And I ended up I plowed through that game. I don't think I 100%ed it, but I went through and I did as much as I could. There's a number of things that were just really, really difficult, but I really had fun with it. But I also don't really remember much about it other than the fact that I enjoyed playing it.
Yeah. So what about these composers?
So, I mean, Koji Kondo, we've talked about a lot, and I think he's really well known because, he is the father of all Nintendo music, but Mahito Yokota started out doing sound effects in Sayuki Journey West in 1999, and eventually came up in 2004 to do music on Donkey Kong Jungle Beat. And then from there, it looks like they were on the Nintendo sound team doing a number of other things. They did the music for Wii Music in 2008, Super Mario Galaxy 2 in 2010, The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword in 2011. They helped with the music in that re-release of Ocarina of Time on the 3DS, New Super Mario Bros. U, New Super Luigi U, which that's the one that I ended up getting. I don't remember if that was on recommendation by anybody, but that one, it's an interesting version of the game. And then most recently, just jumping up to the top here, they're listed as recording management for the main theme of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate in 2018.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like we are getting a call on our Patreon hotline, which means that Janine's going to forward over a call from one of our patrons so we can take a request.
XVGM Radio, who is this, and what can we play on this wintry episode for you today?
This is Chris Hart, and for my Patreon pick for the winter episode, I chose Wintry Emil from Golden Sun. Motoi Sakuraba is one of my favorite game composers, and when I think of winter music, his spacious, calming, soothing music really fits. I hope you enjoy it.
All right, I'm sure we will. Let's give this a listen. So this is going to be, as Chris said, from Golden Sun, which came out in the Game Boy Advance in 2001. This is Wintry Emil by Motoi Sakuraba.
Thanks for joining us back on our Winter Trax Dose episode. That was Golden Sun, which came out in the Game Boy Advance in 2001. That song was called Wintry Emil, and it's by Motoi Sakuraba. I get a real Valkyrie profile vibe from this track, and I think that, Motoi Sakuraba has a lot to do with that.
Yeah.
He worked on that game.
Yeah, that's very fair. I have not played any of the Valkyrie profile games, but
they're very sad. That's
Yeah.
all you need to know. Well, at least they start off very sad, and I think I've talked about them on previous episodes. But
yeah. So I get the sadness there for sure. I get a feel. I'm trying to figure out what it is, like what else that Motoi's done that this sounds like. I want to say something off of the SNES, or maybe, I know Valkyrie Profile came out in the PS1, but
well, he also did Star Ocean on the Super NES, and he also did Tales of Fantasia, I believe.
Oh, he did the Tales games. It might be the Tales games that I'm thinking of. Tales of Fantasia was an SNES game though, right?
Yes, it was a Super Famicom game, so it never came out here.
Right. When I was in college, I had a ROM of it that was a fan translation, so I do remember playing. That was a really neat game. That might actually be the one that I'm hearing or thinking back to, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the sound chip is very Super NES, as far as the style. But Golden Sun, I really don't have that much experience with, in all honesty. I think I might own either the first game or the second game. I think it's the second game, and I think I might have the first one on the Wii U.
I'm pretty sure it came out on Virtual Console or something.
Yeah, I'm almost positive I have the first one on Virtual Console, and I remember starting it and liking it quite a bit, but I just never really got far in it. But the graphics are great. It's like a top-down Super NES JRPG.
Yep.
But it's like an action RPG, if I recall. It's like, kind of like Zelda.
So when you get into a battle, it like many JRPGs,
right.
it does change, and it actually does this really cool thing. There's like a pseudo 3D effect where it kind of like circles around, the camera kind of like circles around the fight itself.
Yes. To clarify, when I was saying Zelda, I was talking about like when you're going through the dungeons and everything, that part, it's like 2D top down, like Zelda.
Yeah, it looks kind of like Link to the Past and stuff like that.
Yeah,
for sure. A lot of the JRPGs from that era look like that. Like this also, some of the screenshots that I'm seeing, it kind of looks like it could have been Final Fantasy VI or stuff like that. I have not played these games either. There's three of them. There's Golden Sun and Golden Sun The Lost Age, which the two of those games together make one full story. Interesting tidbit, from what I understand, the game was originally intended to be on the N64, but they ended up, due to just a number of issues that they had during development, they decided to move to a mobile platform like the Game Boy Advance.
Wow.
And then because of that, I think they also had to split the game into two just for content and whatnot. So Golden Sun, you're playing as like the heroes of the story and whatnot. And then in The Lost Age, the story actually changes perspective to follow the antagonists from Golden Sun. And then the third game, Dark Dawn, it's actually another, like a whole other story. It's 30 years later, and somehow in 30 years, continents have shifted, new countries have emerged, new species have appeared all over the land, and the original game's heroes' descendants, so the kids of the heroes of the first game, set out to try to solve the mystery of what's going on and how to restore balance to the world. That's kind of neat. But the story of this one is huge. The world, or the region that you're in, is called Wayward, and alchemy has been so entrenched in like the history of this civilization that like it's just kind of like if you've ever seen Full Metal Alchemist, like alchemy is just a thing people do. But at the point in which the game is taking place, there's a worldwide conflict, power battles between countries and stuff, and it only went away when they sealed alchemy away. So there is a key to unlocking alchemy, which involves like 4 elemental stars, which are like basically the pure version of the elements, and they're hidden in like a mountain shrine, which is guarded, obviously. And some of the bad guys in the game, named Saturos and Minardi, form an army, or like a small raiding party, and they storm the temple and take control of the elemental stars for themselves. But in doing so, they don't do it the right way, I guess. There's like riddles and stuff that they're supposed to solve in order to get through things, and they don't do that stuff, and it generates this like magical thunderstorm and like elemental stuff starts going crazy, like rock slides, thunderstorms, all that and whatnot. And it's like the world's kind of thrown into chaos. So 3 years after that is when the story of the game picks up, and there are people that are trying to research what happened and all these powers and whatnot. There is a second raid by those same two bad guys.
Yeah.
And it just gets worse. So like you're trying to basically save the world and stop the insanity. I assume that the second game is because it's from the perspective of the antagonist of the first game. I am guessing that you're playing as either Satoros and Minardi, or like people that are part of this thing, and just like, hey, we weren't trying to be bad guys, but yeah, we need to do something. Who knows? I don't know enough about the games to really talk about it, but it sounds pretty interesting. If I had the time for a JRPG, I might actually pick this up.
Yeah, right. I know. Okay, so Motoi Sakuraba we've talked about before quite a bit. We already kind of delved into a good chunk of his stuff. He did a lot of stuff with Camelot, the development company. And then, Wolf Team on the Genesis. He did a lot of work with Wolf Team on stuff like Arcus Odyssey, El Viento, Ernest Evans, that whole trilogy of games that came out in that series, the Annette Futabe games. And later on worked on a lot of Star Ocean and Tales games. So he's primarily the composer on a lot of those games. So We'll go from one heavy hitter composition-wise to another. And so we're going to move into Silent Hill Shattered Memories. This is my final pick of the episode. This came out on the Wii, the PlayStation Portable, and the PS2 in 2009 and 2010, respectively. Snowdriven is the name of the track, and it's by a really great composer, Akira Yamaoka. Hey, thanks for joining us back on our winter episode. This was a track that we just played from Silent Hill Shattered Memories, which came out on the Wii, the PlayStation Portable, and the PS2 in 2009 and 2010. Snowdriven was the name of the track, and it's by Akira Yamaoka. What do you think about this one? I wanted to add something that was a little different. again, kind of similar to the Tomb Raider track.
Yeah. I mean, I would agree. This is definitely different. I feel like this had a bit of creepiness to it, kind of like that Evangelion track. Obviously, this was a lot more produced, and this is off of a modern game, so you're getting Red Book audio and whatnot. But the handful of things that I have as far as like thoughts about this go are, for one, I agree. It was very chill. It kind of sounded like something that you might hear on like a lo-fi hip hop station or something.
Yeah.
Except for like there's this part towards the middle that just has like this pseudo talking, or it sounds like somebody's either talking or trying to talk in like the background of something, and you can't really hear them or understand what they're saying, but there's just something about it that gives off a real creepy vibe. And I'm obviously, we're talking about Silent Hill here, so yeah, it's a creepy game, and anything they can do to enhance that experience is going to be, gravy. So good job on that. And then the only other thing that I have to say about the song has nothing to do with the music itself, just with the syllables of the name. When I first saw this, I saw the name Snow Driven, and for whatever reason, the Nine Inch Nails song God Given popped into my head, and they have the same number of syllables and sort of said the same way. So I kept saying Snow Driven in the way that Trent Reznor might say God Given. It's just really silly.
Yeah, I agree that it's a creepy track, but it's also, as you said, a very lo-fi, kind of chill, minimalist track as well. It's very relaxing and yet also creepy. So what would that be?
Chilipi? No. Cheapy? Cheapy. It's cheapy.
Yeah. So this game is about the first Silent Hill game. It's basically a reimagining of the first game, in the sense that it's like, I don't know, remastered or rebooted. I wouldn't say remastered or rebooted, actually, now that I think about it. I would probably say they're taking the idea of what the first Silent Hill game was and kind of changing it, if you will.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I've not played this one, but I heard basically the same thing that you were saying. Like it's the story of the first game, but told slightly differently.
Right. And, there's different gameplay elements and everything.
Right,
and they really do try to change it up. But I've heard that a lot of people like this game, and it's fairly recently shot up in price quite a bit, just because, people are just kind of coming around to it and realizing that it's a pretty good game. So from what I've heard, it's good, but there is a possibility that there's some Silent Hill fans out there that do feel like it's bad. And I'm trying to think back to our survival horror episode with Avalanche Jared and remember the thoughts that we had on the later Silent Hill games, because I know he was pretty disappointed with a lot of the later games in the franchise, but I don't remember if we talked about this one, and if we did, what his thoughts were on it. So
yeah, I was going to say, I thought I remember hearing that this game didn't go over well, but as I'm looking at it, I think I must be thinking of a different one. Is it Silent Hill Origins, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's the one. I think Avalanche Jared said the same thing. I not the same thing. I think Avalanche Jared also said that Origins was the one that he really, really didn't like. I don't remember what he said about this one, if anything, but yeah, I've heard pretty good things about this one.
Yeah. This was actually the last soundtrack that Akira Yamaoka worked on for Konami. He actually left the company after this, so he was with them for 16 years working on soundtracks. So quite unfortunate that that was right around the time when they were just losing people like crazy. Konami was. So
yeah, well, I mean, that's what happens when you decide you want to be a Plinko company.
Right, yeah.
Nobody's going to make music.
So the game, as far as his soundtracks go, he started off with Smart Ball in 1991 as an assistant composer, and then he worked on just a bunch of different games, starting with stuff like Sparkster, Snatcher in 1994. He's credited for a lot of sound design very early in his career, and then he kind of came into his own doing composition for various different games. One that really comes to mind, to me at least, is one of my favorites of his is Contra Shattered Soldier in 2002 that was released. And, he worked on the Beatmania series and Silent Hill pretty much for a very long time until he started working outside of Konami with stuff like Shadows of the Damned, Cinemora in 2012 he was a sound director on. he pretty much started working with companies like Platinum Games, Atlas, and his final game, at least lately, has been Dead Realm in 2017. He was the music composer on that one.
Nice.
Yep.
Very cool.
Yep.
All right.
What are you gonna close us out with?
Well, I'm going to close this out with something that I think is fun and bouncy and wintry. This is going to be Kirby's Return to Dreamland. It came out on the Wii in 2011 and on the Wii U in 2015. The track is Frozen Underground, also known as the Ice Cave area, and it was composed by Hirokazu Ando and Jun Ishikawa. Welcome back from that final track. You're on XVGM Radio's Winter Tracks Part 2, Icelectric Boogaloo. This is the end of the episode, but before we go, we must talk about that Kirby track. That was Kirby's Return to Dreamland. Came out on the Wii in 2011, on the Wii U in 2015. The track was Frozen Underground, also known as Ice Cave Area, and was composed by Hirokazu Ando and Jun Ishikawa.
You got it.
I do.
This one was a good way to send off the episode. It perfectly encapsulates everything you want to hear in a fun, friendly, wintry track. So it didn't do anything that really stood out to me. It just kind of vibed for me. So it's kind of hard for me to explain it beyond that, at least on a musical level. But that's kind of how a lot of the Kirby music is, at least in the later games. The older games, I kind of remember it a little bit better.
Yeah, no, that's fair. This one didn't feel to me as much as a winter type track as some of the other stuff that we've played. This actually felt more kind of like a classical Kirby track, just all in all. But I haven't heard a Kirby track in a while, and I haven't played a Kirby game in a while. And this one kind of, I don't know that I really even remember this. Like, I remember Kirby's Epic Yarn. I remember a lot of the gimmicky things that they were doing with Kirby on the DS, the 3DS, and stuff like that. But I don't remember Kirby's Return to Dreamland. So I came across this and was like, oh, I should take a look. And I might actually, since I still have a Wii U hooked up in my living room, I might actually grab the Wii U version, because Kirby games are generally really fun, and this one looks really cute.
So I have this one. I picked it up, and it is really fun. It is much better multiplayer, in my opinion, than single player. So you could play as up to 4 characters. You get, obviously, Kirby.
Mm-hmm.
And then you could play as a Waddle Dee, Meta Knight, and King DDD.
Oh, you can play.
Yeah.
Okay, nifty.
Yeah, so
maybe I have heard of this one, actually.
Yeah, it's super fun. I mean, they've been working on this game. They were working on this game since like the N64 days and the GameCube era. And they just kept shifting it from console to console to console. And they kept changing it and everything. But yeah, it's a lot of fun multiplayer. You could stack your characters, like you could be like a totem pole sort of thing. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, a lot of the gameplay mechanics kind of come from the Kirby Superstar on the Super NES. If you've played that one and you really enjoyed it, then you'll probably dig this one. It's not like the Kirby 64 game in the sense that like there was such a huge focus on combining powers in that game. Whereas this game, it's more arcadey, I guess you could say. More classic platform.
Yeah. That's what it looks like. It looks a lot more like classic Kirby type platforming. I remember seeing that there was a game that Meta Knight was in, that Meta Knight was playable in. I'm not sure if there's other ones, so I'm guessing that this might be the one that I'd heard about. But I don't know who was talking to me about this a while back. Just kind of nifty overall, though. So, I mean, as is customary for these games, it is, as we said, a platformer of the Kirby variety. And the plot in this one has a spaceship called the Lore Starcutter that comes out suddenly from a wormhole and crashes into Kirby's home planet of Popstar. So then Kirby, Meta Knight, King Dedede, and Waddle Dee go to check it out, and they meet an alien who goes by the name of Magolor. And he discovers that the 5 primary pieces of his ship, along with 120 energy spheres, have been scattered across the planet. And, Magolor offers them a trip to his homeworld if they will help him put everything back together. So you're out looking for pieces of this ship, and, along the way there are villains who have laid claim to things that they found, so you have to fight the bad guys to get the ship pieces back and then bring it all back to Magolor. As far as these composers go, I know that we've talked about them a bit before when we've talked about Kirby in the past. They are, I think, both pretty much well known for Kirby games. Hirokazu Ando started out in 92 doing Arcana and then moved on to Kirby's Adventure, Dream Course, Dreamland, Star Stacker, Crystal Shards, Air Ride. I'm pretty sure if it's a Kirby game that he was involved. Yeah, exactly. Some of the non-Kirby stuff that he did, Picross 3D in 2009, he did sound on. Actually, most of the stuff after Super Smash Bros. Melee is sound or lead sound design. And then we have Jun Ishikawa, who started out doing music on Uchukebitai SDF in 1990. That is a vertically scrolling shmup on the NES. And then went on to do New Ghostbusters 2 in 1990, and then we hit Kirby's Dream Land in 92, Arcana, Kirby's Adventure, so Kirby, more Kirby. Outside of the Kirby stuff, there's Box Boy in 2015, Box Boy in 2016, both sound...
Box Boy?
No, the next one is Bye Bye Box Boy.
Oh,
2017.
Okay. All right.
And those are all sound credits. So the most recent credit for Jun is Kirby Fighters 2 in 2020.
Cool. Now comes the time where we pick our favorite tracks from our episode. So Justin, what was your favorite pick of this episode?
It's kind of a hard pick between the Ys 2 special track that you played and the Saints Row 4 track that you played. I like them both for very different reasons. I think I'm going to put Ys 2 on top and Saints Row 4 a very close second. I thought they both hit the mark of wintry tracks, and they were both extremely enjoyable. I love the dubstep of the Christmas Dubstep Gun track, and I just loved a lot about that Ys 2 special Walkways in the Snow track. It was very satisfying.
Yeah, for sure. And you and I are kind of on the same page. The Ys 2 special is definitely my pick of this episode. I think it hits all the marks. It's wintry, it's carefree, and it's just really fun to listen to. So that's definitely my pick. If I had to pick a second one, I'm going to say I was pretty surprised how much I really enjoyed the Golden Sun track. So I think that would be my big standout pick otherwise from our Patreon member, Chris Hart. So thanks, Chris.
Good call. Yes, thank you, Chris.
Yeah.
So, we'd like to take a moment to thank our Patreon patrons, without whom this show's continued improvement would be impossible. They are Alex Messenger, Cam Worma, Chris Hart, Dan Lawton, Jordan and Anson Davis, Kung Fu Carlito of the Heroes 3 podcast, Scott McElhone, Chris Myers, Peter Panda, The Autistic Gamer 89, Bedroth, Brad Austin, Chris Murray, Jeremy Rutz, Llama Adam, Marcus Stewart, Matthew Hanola, Muddle Madness, Nick Davis, and Ryan McPherson.
If you would like to become a patron, you can sign up at patreon.com/XVGM Radio. There you can see the different tiers as well. Just $1 gets you a thank you and access to our monthly live shows.
You can visit our website, xvgmradio.com, where you can listen to all the episodes and learn more about your hosts, as well as any of our guests or composers that we've had on the show.
If you'd like to reach out to us, you can always email us at xvgmradio@gmail.com.
If you like what you've heard, please consider giving us a review on iTunes.
You can join our Facebook group and chat with other VGM lovers at www.facebook.com/groups/XVGM Radio, where we talk about everything from current game news to sharing awesome VGM tracks or just talking about the podcast itself.
You can also find us on Twitter and Instagram. Our handle on both those sites is @XVGM Radio.
If you don't have any other social media or just want to try something unique, check us out on our Discord group chat. Links in the show notes.
So thanks again for listening to our Winter Trax 2 Icelectric Boogaloo episode. This episode is the last one of 2020, so we wanted to wish everybody a happy holiday, whatever you celebrate, and we hope that you have a safe, happy holiday.
Yeah, happy holidays from XVGM to you and your home.
Absolutely. So when we come back in 2021, hopefully everything will be great and sunshiny and wonderful. I don't think so. I think we'll still be in the same spot that we're in, if not worse, but at least we'll have some great tunes to carry us through this crazy quarantine pandemic. So 2021, we're going to open up with one of our favorite guests. Who's coming on?
We are bringing back our good friend Nico Tengoku, and this time we're going to be talking about Amiga music.
Yeah, we're spotlighting the Amiga game system, the original Amiga. So, I mean, there's tons of amazing music that he's picked and that we've picked. So stay tuned in 2 weeks and have a safe, happy new year. This is Mike.
And Justin.
Signing off for XVGM Radio. All right, so now comes the time.
Now comes the time.
Yeah.
Welcome back from that, XVGM listeners. That was Wonder Boy 3 Monster Lair. Came out in the arcade. So, Kirby, more Kirby, Boxy Box.
Kirby, can't you see? Sometimes your mouth just hypnotized me.
All right. Keep this PG-13.